Hello, students. So we are starting a new chapter in our plant study. This is all about plant variety, the variety of plants that God has provided for us on our wonderful earth. So we'll start with the workbook 3.1. It talks about different types of plants, how they're suited to different environments. We've got the cactus of the desert, the philodendron plants of the rainforest, and also a pitcher plant, which can live in a rainforest as well. That's kind of neat. And then there's some questions here about what plant might live in a desert. Of course, that would be a cactus. There's some other questions to answer about plants. How are plants alike? Well, you're going to find as you study that there's three main basic parts of plants: the roots, the stems, and the leaves. And plants all seem to share that in common. There'll be some other things to look for as well. Then it's talking about roots and stems. Some plants have lots of small roots, like this basil plant. Ooh, basil's good to, the leaves are really good to mix in different foods or for salads. And it has fibrous roots, they're called. And then you have some plants like a carrot that has a taproot, just one big root that goes down deep, and that's what's helping to support the carrot as it lives. Okay, talking about stems, and even stems of this, the trunk of a tree would qualify as a stem. That's one big stem, isn't it? On the next page, it's talking about bulbs and tubers. A bulb would be like an onion because it says a bulb contains a stem. So there it goes. So the green parts of the onion, which would be above the ground, would come out there at the stem. This would be under the ground. And of course, your potato is a tuber. It's a kind of thick underground stem. Okay, there'll be roots as well as the potato tubers under the ground, but there's some, that's kind of the difference there. And some other questions to answer about different plants. Then in 3.3, it takes you to a desert environment. Here's a prickly pear cactus. They can flower at different times of the year, and they're really beautiful. And there's actually, I don't know if you've had it before, there's a prickly pear cactus jelly that's made from part of the leaves if you prepare them in a certain way. It's pretty tasty. Here it has poison ivy, which we do have some of that around here. Other places, parts of the country have more than we do. And on the, oops, I think I turned an extra page there. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Okay, different leaves. Okay, so the different leaf forms, and it talks about how it shows different pictures here, and you're going to identify them. Sharp leaves would include the cactus, and colorful leaves would include these plants called coleus, which are really beautiful. These are often known as ornamentals because they have beautiful, vibrant colors. On workbook 3.4, it talks about flowers, all the beautiful different patterns that you've got for different flowers here. Look at the great variety. Yes, they're just beautiful, beautiful flowers here. And it shows about that, talking about how flowers actually are, they have what they have in common is they all produce seeds, and they help the plant to be able to grow new plants at the end of their growing cycle. On the flip side of this page, it talks about pollinators, things like butterflies and bees. Hummingbirds as well are pollinators, and there's some more questions to answer about that. On 3.5, it switches from plants that produce seeds to plants that are known as simple plants that don't produce seeds. It says simple plants do not have flowers and do not produce seeds. They have spores instead. A spore is a tiny, usually single cell that does not need to be pollinated to become a new plant. And ferns produce spores found in spore cases on the underside of the fern leaves. That's a common type of a spore producing plant that we have around here. It's really fascinating. All those are called little spore cases, and inside of them are just literally like hundreds of individual little spores that are just like dust. Very cool. Some other spore-producing plants are horsetails and moss. And then on this side, again, you're finding out that simple plants do not have flowers and they do not make seeds, okay? So that's important to remember. And so that's kind of what you'll go through this week on that. And then for your extension, if you want to do a little extended learning, I have a leaf booklet here. This first page is leaf anatomy. It tells the different parts of the leaf, and you can kind of color this leaf in nice and green and try to think of some of these parts that are on here. You might even explore on the internet the complete definition of what some of these things are. You've probably heard of veins in the leaf that help carry the nutrition throughout the plant through those veins, just like veins in a person carries the blood, which keeps us alive, moving around. Also, on the next page, you have leaf facts, all these different facts that are here. And once you've kind of gotten a handle on these leaf facts, you can answer some questions that relate to those facts. And then finally, at the end of the week, this is kind of fun. You can take a leaf. This looks like it's a broadleaf maple, I think is the kind this is, and see if you can kind of make the other side of this leaf by looking at this side. All right. So, okay. All right. So that's your introduction for the science workbook pages this week and the mini packet. Good luck with it. And I'll be sharing answers to the workbook at the end of the week. Thanks.